The gentlemen from CHIKE Nutrition are here, and as we promised, and they are getting ready to start their part of the presentation. And so I can only really adequately introduce my friend Caleb Kelso. He's on the far end of the table there, and Caleb and I have known each other for quite a long time, and so he works at CHIKE, among other things that he does. And so I'll leave it to Caleb to interview and to moderate this part of the session and introduce you to the other guests. So let's give them a hand and thank them for being here today. Thank you, guys. Good afternoon.
Gotcha.
I had the privilege of being at the first business clinic, and it's very exciting to see what this has become, see a lot of new faces, and just want to express at the beginning how thankful I am for Mike for the entrepreneurial journey he has been on to develop Athlete Startup Community and the business clinics. It is such an essential part of the fabric of our startup community here in Abilene, of the entrepreneurial community, the business community in general. There's not a lot of places that have something like this. We're very privileged to have this in Abilene. So thank you, Mike, and thank you for inviting us. I'm Caleb. I'm the controller for CHIKE Nutrition. Been with them since last fall. And there are too many adventures to begin listing. The most exciting one is a lot of people that see the new building out on I-20 and they say, what's CHIKE? CHIKE. Yeah, and I just say, it's really good, you should try it. Just out of curiosity, those of you in the room that have tried CHIKE and had, all right, got a few fans in the room, the rest of you should try it, it's really good. I'm very blessed to work with Jason and Remy, two of the best guys I've gotten to work with, and I've worked with a lot of really good people. These are guys that are absolutely dedicated to doing the right thing, to pursuing high levels of excellence in the midst of it, making sure that they honor people. Taking care of the people that work for them is their number one priority, along with a couple of other number one priorities like excellence and always making a great product. I'm excited to have them here and to be with you all today. We talked a little bit about what this would look like. What they would actually prefer is questions from you, questions you have about their journey in business. But to kick that off, I invited them to tell a little bit of their story. How did CHIKE start? Where did it come from? And what brought us to this point? Gentlemen?
Me? I guess I'm on.
Remy tells the story better, so.
Yeah. I'll give you guys like a high level conversation just of the company. But we'd really like to make this as interactive as possible and just kind of answer any questions that you guys might have. But so I guess we officially started in 2010. We were doing things prior to that, but CHIKE was birthed in 2010. We, at the time, the business looked very different. Our goals were very different. Luckily, it was just two guys that were incredibly passionate about a common goal, came from really different backgrounds. But at the time, we ended up having a brand. Like the vast majority of sports nutrition brands, we outsourced our manufacturing to a co-packer. And we're just plugging along and trying to fully understand the industry and how it worked. Even though we didn't have all the data points, we were still trying to wrap our heads around, how did distribution work? What are, healthy margins in order to remain sustainable? Marketing was in its infancy of as far as SEO and our overall business strategy of direct to consumer and retail. Back then, it was really different, and Amazon was just, getting ready to start deploying their FBA, which has changed retail. Direct to consumer was still, sorry. All right, great. So direct to consumer was, I think, still in its infancy as well. And people were still trying to understand the best, commerce strategy on how to approach that. And so we were plugging away, trying to sell our product in the traditional setting, trying to get into major retailers. And as we were doing that, Amazon changed the game and we had to pivot, and we ended up going a different direction. And as of today, our strategy is more direct consumer and grocery emphasized. And about 5 years ago, 5 years ago, we decided to complicate our life further and bring manufacturing in-house. So we're a vertically integrated brand now. It has really benefited us in a lot of ways. And what we joke about is that if we would have known what we know today back then, we never would have manufactured. So being naive was a really good thing.
But we're glad we did it. I mean, we're glad we did it
Absolutely.
now. But if we would have known what we had to go through to get there, it would have been.
Yeah,
really-
I mean, it was exhausting. But ultimately, the reason why we decided to go in manufacturing, and this goes in part on why I think that we were successful, it wasn't a profit-driven decision, right? We started the company, we'd like to say that we did it for the right reasons. I mean, we had big ambitions for what we wanted to do, but it was profit-driven. When we got into manufacturing, because we got so much biased information, we ended up going in manufacturing to just make a better product for our consumers. And we ultimately found out that if we didn't control the manufacturing end of the piece, we would almost be hypocrites because no one is ultimately going to care as much as we do about the quality of the product. So it's better to understand that, fully and take responsibility of that. So now we will take a concept, we'll formulate it, we'll procure all the ingredients, we'll bulk blend it, we'll put the bulk blends into, a container type variation, and we can even distribute it. And we do all of our marketing now in-house, all of our formulation, all of our checks and balances. We have an in-house microbiology lab. It's pretty cool. And to have that in Abilene is pretty awesome, especially for me. I grew up here. There weren't a lot of opportunities and kind of exciting opportunities for me personally. And I was kind of the black sheep of the family. I came from a family of doctors and physicians, and I really worried my parents when I wanted to go the entrepreneurship route because when I wanted to do it, Shark Tank wasn't around. Being an entrepreneur meant you were between jobs, or unemployed, and so it wasn't cool like it is today. And I'm glad it wasn't. I mean, it really humbled me from an early beginning and made me make the right decisions to where I'm here talking to you guys today. So,
Well said.
yeah.
Talk a little bit about the product, about the heart behind it, how the meal replacement started, how you got into coffee.
I think just so most of y'all probably know us, if you know us from our high protein iced coffee, we originally started with the meal replacement. We wanted to create something originally, kind of step out of the sports nutrition arena and actually get more into the medical field. But as we learned going down that route, it was very tough, very hard. We specifically worked with cancer patients, and didn't matter how good you can make a shake at times, if they're sick, it just doesn't taste good. So we still do some there, but we did a lot in the bariatric world. They kind of found us. They were very picky and wanted something that tasted good, so it was a good fit. Through that process, we knew we had to create something that was unique and different, and or we had to have millions of dollars to advertise and promote it. So we ended up coming up with the concept of coffee and protein. We knew coffee. I mean, well, not everybody, most people consume coffee, right? I mean, or they want caffeine, they want the energy from it. So throwing in a healthy alternative versus the Starbucks Frappuccinos full of sugar and everything else. We wanted to create a healthy alternative to that. So that's what kind of got us shifted over to the coffee side. But we spent we debate this, but three and a half years on just the research and development. And before we had, I don't know, I would say hundreds of versions before we actually launched the product. And we were selling the meal replacements in the meantime. But now our core product is the high protein iced coffee. And it's again, why we're here today. But I don't know if that answered your question. Did it?
Absolutely. Go back to when you were first starting out, and you're in a small warehouse owned by McCoy's drugstore on Gentile. What got you up in the morning? No, let me ask that differently. The next day, why did you get up and go back?
Originally is because I placed a order for a truckload of stuff and I had to sell it. That's really the honest to goodness truth. But I think we were very passionate about what we wanted, naive, definitely, not, didn't know what we didn't know. But, and I think what, to answer that was just, we believed, right? We believed there was, when nobody else believed, we believed it was going to be successful. And I would say anybody that starts something or does something, they have to believe. It's whether they continue believing. And through that process, there were some different things in my personal life that happened that continue to keep that belief going, and it played out. So that's for
Yeah, I mean,
me.
I think we were also just a product of our own company. Like we were scratching our own itch. So we were really passionate about what we did because we, that belief in ourself was huge, but also we knew that there was a massive disconnect in the market at the time. And things again have changed dramatically, but we truly believed that we could make a difference. And we understood, just being kind of a professional customer, we knew that the market was ripe for something like what we had, as far as an idea. And I think, just to kind of talk about, people ask us this a lot: why did we deviate from meal replacements to this high protein iced coffee? And Jason alluded to it. We ended up taking a fairly generic product offering, and we had to test ourselves, because we were going around telling people this is the best tasting protein shake or meal replacement shake, and that wasn't really doing justice. So we decided to make an unfair comparison to coffee, milk, and sugar. And we knew that if we had an opportunity to create something that related to the iced frappuccino experience, and it was a healthy alternative, and people had a hard time distinguishing the two, we knew we had instant buy-in from people that were trying to embrace this healthier lifestyle. Because if you don't have to think about something, and it's just a natural behavior, you now have a chance to help them engage in this healthier lifestyle without even thinking about it. Because diets, that are performed using willpower, I mean, you run out of willpower. And so if you truly enjoy and actively look forward to what you're taking, that's how you instill permanent change. And I think that we were incredibly passionate about that. We would freak out when we would see people drinking these frappuccinos, not understanding what it was doing to their body. And so we wanted to do something about it.
Before we take some questions on what you're talking about, you guys use the term bridge nutrition a lot. Heard you throw that around. Talk a little bit about that and how this decision leads into other things.
Sorry.
Sure. The decision to use CHIKE now becomes a catalyst. Next.
Yeah, I think we constantly talk about momentum. Do you want to talk about that, Corey? Yeah, so we believe that, look, you might only use our product for what it's worth. We don't necessarily even want you to use our products. We honestly, I think, wholeheartedly believe that you should try to get all your nutrition naturally, just through diet. We also are understanding, we're cognizant of the fact that not a lot of people, this day and age, have the time or the ability to put something nutritionally viable together. So if you use our product and it just naturally elicits change in your life, like you start drinking our product on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, when normally you would throw in a cinnamon roll and a coffee, you're going to start seeing some dramatic results very quickly. It's going to increase your steady state metabolism. You're going to kick your body out of a catabolic state first thing in the morning. You're going to start losing weight without you even thinking about it. And I think that creates momentum. You're going to start looking at yourself, feeling better. You're dropping pounds without thinking about it. You feel more energized. You're more mentally acute than ever before. And you ask, what's next, right? Maybe I might go to the gym, or maybe I might try to, not eat as much at dinner, or I might start reading, an article about, healthy living. That's what it's about. It's the momentum. It's not about our product. It's just about we were something in your life that helped elicit that change. And we hope that it's permanent, right? Just you're constantly thinking of ways to improve yourself, because these small incremental benefits that you achieve, that's what creates monumental results later on. So it's not about the product.
I think if there was only one thing that we could work on, Remy, we'd work on your conviction. I think we would. No, these guys are very passionate about what they do and about how they do it, and I think you can tell from their story. Questions, open it up to you. What would you like to know? Who's shutting down? Is that like? Okay, come on. Thank you.
Having taken the road from a new startup to a multi-million-dollar business, as I understand it, I assume that's true. Can you give us like the key transitions, the key points where you, and you talked a little bit about a couple, but from a business side, from a startup to transitioning to a, what kinds of things did you have to change to transition to a more viable or a moving company? And then what transitions did you make I'm assuming there's 2 or 3 stages. Can you walk us through those stages? Financially,
So,
planning,
right.
things like that.
and I don't know if I'm going to answer your question totally, but I'll try somewhat, and Remy, you can chime in there. But I think we were so, and it's probably not going to be what you think the way I'm going to answer this. It wasn't certain key things we did. I think we were, as Caleb said, well, we were very passionate about what we were doing. We just stayed really focused. One thing that me and Remy, you talked about finance, one thing we really focused on is we only grew as fast as what we were financially able to grow. So we did just purchase this building. That was the first time we've ever been in debt. We've continued to operate on our terms. And what I always like to say is, I don't want to make have-to decisions. I want to make good decisions. And I don't want to have to make a decision to pay rent this week and go do something we wouldn't typically do. We've had, I don't know how many people, investors, like when we go to shows, want to, saying it's funny when you want money, nobody wants to give it to you. But then when you don't necessarily need it at the time, everybody wants to give it to you. But we've always chose to operate on our terms. So we joke and kind of laugh that basically we said, when did we hit the first $1 million in revenue? We have no idea.
Yeah.
We honestly, we don't even know because we stayed so focused on what we were doing. And I'm the first to say I'm very money motivated, but at the same time, that's not the biggest picture. So we did. I mean, it's kind of like all a whirlwind, to be honest with you, the way it's the last 10 or 11 years it has been. But there was different key points I'd have to really think about. You may want to chime in, but I think a lot of it is we just really, we're very involved. We're there every day. We make hundreds of decisions a day, I guess. But I would have to think harder to basically say we stopped and we had to decide and again, it was 4 or 5 years ago, we want to bring this in-house, meaning that was a big shift, right? From being a brand to being a manufacturer. And we had no idea how much liability we would bring on at that time. But we were very deceived by someone telling us, oh, you can set up 50 grand.
Yeah.
That was one piece of equipment. So we were misled tremendously. And then we got so far in that we had to continue on, and we're very glad we did, but we knew we needed to do that piece. And as Remy said, we weren't doing it for the financial benefits. We were doing it for control because we felt that no one would care as much as we did about how we were producing our products. So again, that was a key decision that really shifted our company to be able to, we would probably not have the need right now for that big of a facility if we weren't manufacturing. And then here in the last year and a half, maybe 2 years, we were saying we outgrew where we're at, and we had to make another big decision and commit to this building, or the building came available. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know if I answered your question, but it wasn't like, I would like to say we were very strategic and we planned all this stuff out, but we just went out and just kept our head down and worked, and we addressed it as it came. And obviously we had some direction. We didn't get to there with where we're at today with none, but we never put together a business plan and said, okay, this is what this looks like. We were very passionate, had ideas, and took the opportunities that came at us and tried to do something with them.
Yeah, I think you just have to. There's like Jason. I think what Jason was mentioning is that there's hundreds of ways to answer this question, but I would bring it down to a couple key factors, which is one, you have to humble yourself. You truly have to, like, before you can really grow, and I think really become strong as a leader, you have to really be truthful about what your weaknesses and strengths are, and really see yourself as unbiased as possible. And I think the reason why Jason and I work so well together is because we're, you know, we joke about it, but we're like, you know, you put us together and we're one normal person, right? I mean, we literally fill each other's voids. Like, wherever I'm weak, he's exceptionally strong at, and vice versa. So, you know, finding, like, I wouldn't have known that unless I had understood and been cognizant of my own weaknesses, and then tried to find people that could do those things way better than I could. And even where I'm strong, there are always people that will do it better than you. And so making sure that you understand the different voids in your business and finding, you know, the right resources to put into those places is critical. And I think that, you know, we're in a very ego-driven industry. Sports nutrition, I mean, if you go to any one of the shows, I mean, we literally, I think one year we went to over a dozen of them. It became ridiculous. And then, you know, the pandemic hit and there was no more shows, which again helped us pivot into a completely different direction, made us healthier than ever before. But where I was going at was that the vast majority of companies in our industry, it's all about Lambo dreams, right? It's all about selling the image, and, you know, literally going to a show and watching a Lamborghini, like, as, you know, placed in a person's booth, you know, with half naked models, and, you know, people just talking about how much money they're making. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but people just they want to sell you on this fantasy lifestyle. Whereas we were real, you know, we were the anomaly, and we loved it. We were the people that were just down to earth, you know, real owners working a booth when, you know, we totally did not have to, but we felt that it kept us closest to our customers. And having a constant pulse on your business, the people that work with you, their strengths, their weaknesses, making sure that everyone, you know, has that level of humility is what got us here today. And it's what helped us navigate those, you know, those early wins, and helped us get through the struggles that we exhibited early on. So.
Great question. I will throw in on that while these guys would say we haven't done a lot of planning, what you do a lot of is you do a lot of dreaming. You do a lot of talking ahead about what's next. And through that, you do a lot of what we technically term branch and sequel planning. Well, we're going to do this, and if that works, then we'll do this, then we'll do this. If it doesn't work, we're going to do this. You talk through those scenarios so many times that when we arrive in those moments, you've already thought through the things that needed to be thought through. It's not the same pen and paper process some people go through,
Sure.
but I think the ongoing dreaming, the habit of dreaming, the lifestyle of dreaming is what has kept the company moving forward.
And I'd say now we have a team of people to help us stay straight, like
Little
the
more
Caleb's and Ray's in our world. So they force us to do a little bit more planning and put it on paper. So that's really helped as well.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, another thing to that is that I think that we resisted for a while to become corporate. I mean, what you see is how we dress all the time. I mean, sure, we could pretend and wear suits and look more presentable. I mean, but we're comfortable like this, and that's the reason why we did business. So we're true to ourselves, and we're true to the business, and we're true to the culture that we helped, you know, create because of that. So I think that's what you need to ultimately know, is that if you truly want to be successful at what you do, know yourself and know what makes you happy, and do it. Life is short. Like, make sure that the people that work for you truly enjoy being there, right? Otherwise, you need to help them understand that life is short, and that they need to also be doing something that gives them utility. So.
Okay, another question. So I want to hear how you pivoted during COVID. You brought that up. That's one thing. Second thing is, where is your business going? Because you're in a field that changes all the time, right? So where is your business going?
I'll take how we pivoted. We did nothing. We did nothing different. We actually, business got better because of online and everything else. We internally, because of what we had to do, you know, and I say even internally, we didn't do things dramatically different on the manufacturing side, because If somebody had fever or anything else, they couldn't come to work anyways. So it didn't change dramatically. Obviously, it was more sensitive for us because not fully understanding what it meant if somebody got COVID and the other people, how we should handle that. So we just worked through that, but we never shut down. If somebody tested positive, then obviously we would see who was in contact, make sure those people were either stayed at home until they got tested and didn't have any issues, and then could come back to work. But as a company, we didn't really do anything different. And actually, our sales, as he said, we quit going to some of these shows that were very expensive and went a different marketing direction that we believe is actually better.
Yeah. So here's where we did pivot though. So he's right, business as usual, but I guess we also got alerted to how much money we were wasting at these trade shows. Really fantastic to go to. It's hard to really pull yourself out of it and get the 50,000-foot view until all things kind of stop and you have to reevaluate everything. So we were freaking out that, okay, well, we have a prestige product. This might not translate well when we have an economic downturn and people don't have the expendable income that they do. So maybe this is a luxury item. Luckily, that happened to not be the case. And like Jason mentioned, sales just strengthened. And we had to figure out, well, why are we going to these trade shows and what is the bang for our buck? Like, we started realizing really quickly that we didn't have clear goals for any of these. Like, we truly couldn't come back from a show and understand, was that successful or was it a success? And how did we determine that? So we ended up really kind of focusing in our branding and awareness strategies. And we at the time, we were outsourcing a huge portion of our marketing. And we decided, because of the pandemic, that we were going to bring that all in-house. So we ended up hiring people, again, a lot smarter than us, that could dedicate themselves, on site and help us, grow our marketing strategy. And that's when things really became unraveling. And we realized that, man, we have this massive direct consumer opportunity that we truly weren't putting enough time and effort into. And it helped. It helped quite a bit, actually. So we're now stronger than ever before as far as our online sales. And then we also got introduced to the power of ambassadors. We ended up dabbling with a few, really large players and ended up, creating some really exciting results that have now fueled our current ambassador strategy. So.
What was the second question?
What was the second question?
What was the second?
Oh, yeah, the future. So I'll say this. We have lots of plans for what we want to do. They rarely happen the way that we planned them out to. So there's just a portion of this is just rolling with the punches. But so now that we're kind of grown up, which we hate to admit in a lot of circumstances, because things, in a way, the politics and the corporate environment, you have to be somewhat more structured. So one of the things that we did in the past was we released a product whenever we felt like it was ready to be released. And now we always used to make fun of companies where they're constantly releasing products on a quarterly or monthly basis to keep things fresh. We've realized that that's actually a necessity. So we're cheating a little bit because we're going out, like we already have 2021, all the product releases done, and we're working on 2022 right now. And it's refreshing because before, we literally used to just scrap this stuff last second and then just release it as it was ready. And it just stressed everyone out. It was exciting, but it was just probably not the right type of excitement. But that's, so we have a lot of plans for what we want to do. It's more consistent in growing and expanding our current product, our core product line. We have goal and revenue targets that we're going to achieve, and then an expansion strategy on how we're going to go past that product category. I think, again, we're learning from others' mistakes, which is also another key thing to do as you're growing your business. I mean, I think a lot of people are afraid to talk to the competition because they're your competition, but you can learn tons, and you'd be amazed on how many open books there are out there. And what we've learned the hard way is that we didn't want to create the Cheesecake Factory menu, right? Which if you go into GNC, good luck. If that rep wasn't there, try to go figure out what you want. You just have this analysis paralysis when you get too many options. So we want to keep things simple as possible to achieve our goals. And then when we're ready, we'll start slowly expanding into other categories. So I know that's really vague, but I could give you specifics, but you'd probably all go to sleep on this.
And I think on the, he's talking about brand specific, and I don't know, just thinking about this, is that we actually have a few businesses, but what the CHIKE is our brand side, and Next Level Nutraceuticals is our lab side. They are separate entities in itself, but we are partners in all of them. But our lab side now, we're actually able to bring on more customers. We only had a couple because we weren't, before we bought the new facility, we weren't out of capacity, but we're out of space. So as of now, we've just actually, was it last week or the week before, just brought on a new customer in the process of bringing on another brand. So we have big dreams of growing our manufacturing side. We would love, I don't know when this or if this will happen, but be able to do liquids, like ready to drink liquids and so forth. It's on a whole nother level of manufacturing that we have no idea yet, but
We'll figure it out.
so but we'd love to be able to do that. Will that happen? We have no idea, but we have a lot of business still in the powder side. And just to hit on that, currently we can do on our powder side, we can do anything. What do we do? 184 gram jar up to a 12-pound bag, anything in a range of there. We can put it in, whether it be a rigid container, bag, or whatever it may be. If somebody came to us and wanted us to package flour or sugar, not that we do that, but we could, but, or we could formulate and create something and package it. So that side of the business, again, two different companies, we all operate under the same roof. But that side of the business, we really want to be able to grow as well this year. And we're eventually going to actually even put up a website there. So now that they know, so we haven't done that yet. We weren't in a position really to do it because we couldn't take on any more business, but now we can. So a lot of good and exciting things still.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of follow up on that, we're incredibly passionate. I mean, again, we have to take ourselves out of our environment. Otherwise, we just get tunnel vision and just keep doing what we're doing. But when we pull ourselves out, and I feel like when we get a little more experience and get a few more wins, and you guys start reading about us, we want to foster other people. We want to foster their knowledge and help them understand that being an entrepreneur and being successful, I mean, that's attainable. And we want to show people how to do that on our setting. I mean, to me, being in Abilene, growing up here, being surrounded by people with limiting beliefs. I mean, you have to engage with other people in order to really get creative and understand that your ideas can happen. You just need to be in the right setting and keep trying, right? And course correcting along the way.
All right, so we had a question we were asking earlier for a previous panel. How do you find and retain good employees? And how many employees do you have? Maybe that'd be a good starting point.
We have 50. I think we've been up to about 70, but we're around 50 right now, and that's because we've done some things different. But yeah, so 50. Caleb does payroll, so. Yeah. And what was the rest of the question? I'm sorry.
How do you find them and retain them?
I think we've been fortunate to bring on some of the people that we've found, and guys like Caleb himself. But I think we're putting things in play where we're actually offering some benefits, some things that people actually look forward to. And even for our production side, those guys that typically wouldn't be able to go get a job that provided insurance, we've just implemented that. And we want to, I think, I don't know how to say it the right way, but we truly care about our people. We talk about a lot of different things about running the business, making money. I believe we can be successful, make all the money in the world, but if we haven't made a difference with our people, what's the point at the end of the day? So I think our people, for me personally, I'm very involved out on the production side, and sometimes we almost get too involved, but at the end of the day, I think that's what's really I'm passionate about. I thought it was we make all this money and then go have a purpose or go create a purpose. But through that, I believe the Lord's really showed me that we have the purpose right here. And that's things we walk out daily. Caleb's got in the grind with us there. So
I think he makes a good point, because before, at one point, you could make our day by coming and telling us like how great our product was. And you know, the customers that do write in daily, I mean, that's what energizes us, to know that we're making an impact on people's lives. And now I think what's even more empowering is seeing an employee, bringing them on, noticing that they're not confident, that they're lacking confidence, that they're insecure about something, and then watching them build themselves and getting that confidence. That's everything. I mean, like when you actually give confidence to someone and watching them spread their wings and actually start empowering themselves and just feeling good about who they are and start believing, that's what'll make our day now, is when we see people growing the company themselves. And I think that this is a cornerstone in the company, that, you know, we reach this point to where we were asking that question over and over again, like, why are people coming to us, taking a cut in their salary and still coming on board and really truly enjoying themselves and praising us, like Caleb here. And I don't know, other than the fact that we took a lot of things for granted, but I would say a large part of it is the culture, this culture that we truly do. You know, we're people of action. We don't like to talk as much as just do things. But I think that we've shown time and time again that, you know, you truly have a place here, and empowering everyone, from someone sweeping the floors, they have an essential role in our business. And, you know, nobody should be above anybody. Everyone has an essential component that they're bringing to the table, and they should be respected for that. And I think that that's what we tried to do. We tried to level this like typical corporate hierarchy, where no one's too proud to do any job, because we're all essential.
And obviously that didn't come with a lot of issues still. I think it's just how we handle the issues that makes it different. I would like to say that that sounds good and pretty and we don't ever have any issues, but we do. And
Sure.
like I said, it's just how we handle them, I think.
I'll throw out there a couple of quick examples. More than anywhere that I've worked in the last 20 years, these guys inspire not just a high degree of loyalty, but a fierce degree of loyalty. The people that work for them, not all of them, but most of them, will take a bullet for these guys. They hire a lot of people that other places wouldn't hire. And when people show up, they recognize that they are being given a responsibility, and they stand up to that responsibility. They are being shown respect, they're being shown honor, and they respond to that. Some of our best people are people that probably could not have worked somewhere else, or were turned away from a lot of other places. Well, there was one conversation I had last week. The guy was like, "I'm so glad I decided to work for CHIKE instead of that other place." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because we wear t-shirts."
Hi,
These guys have to leave at 1:30, so this will probably be our last question. Okay.
most of the people in the room know that I'm Paul Mason. I'm the Dean of the Johnson School of Business at McMurray. And this is for you guys, but it's also for the other panelists or the other people in the room. We have 4 of our students in the back corner, 5 if you want to count Karen Light. And we have a requirement in the School of Business that all students have an internship. And that requirement has worked through the years that by next fall, every student will be required to have an internship before they graduate. Are you guys open to college interns? They have to work 120 to 150 hours in a semester. And if so, I want to hear from you.
Do they have to be paid?
Good timing.
We prefer that they be paid, yes. You know, internships are great for business experience, but I appreciate internships for our students because it means that somebody paid them to do something professional before they got out of school.
Now, we currently have 1 or 2 interns.
I think
One marketing intern.
at least one. We're going to hire another one.
At least one. We've got another one coming on, and would like to have 3 or 4 for the summer. Absolutely.
Okay.
We're
I'm
putting
gonna
together
make
a
sure I
program
get
right now.
in touch with you before.
Yes.
Thanks.
I'll throw out as a concluding remark, one of the best parts of the day, and it happens almost every day, is to look at the Instagram post, the Facebook post, the emails that we get from our customers. And the common theme that we see over and over and over again is CHIKE changed my life. We have an employee that works for us right now. She had a brain surgery several years ago, and in the recovery process, her muscles had completely atrophied. She could barely move. Her system was so compromised, she could hardly hold down any food. She started drinking the CHIKE meal replacements, and she credits that with saving her life. She's not the only one that's told us that. We hear many people that describe the bridge nutrition scenario. I tried CHIKE, I felt great, I started doing these other things. We hear these stories over and over and over again, and you look at it and you go, it's a meal shake, it's coffee, what is it? You never know what it is that's in your heart, the idea that you have, and the impact it's going to have on people's lives. The passion that they have, that they bring to the business every day, it goes into every product that we make. And every time somebody is drinking that, it sounds weird to say it. I don't have a better way to describe it. There's something about that passion that gets infused into it. There's something about the loyalty. There's something about the determination of the people on the line that are packing it every day, the value that they recognize how important this is, and what they're doing is going to change someone's life. All of that means something when it's sitting on the shelf.